Hey, Bible lovers, in this last session, I asked Stephen, why is Siegel leather so sought after, especially by bookbinders and rebinders? One thing I heard over and over again is how great his Sokoto or Sokoto, depending on how you say it, that's a funny moment in this video, but check it out. Specifically talking about goat skin. You've talked about archival work, you've talked about stuff in the Library of Congress to where goat skin is truly a superior leather. Now, would you say this is superior leather over all other forms of leather, or
No, this is just okay for book binding. So there are a lot of properties that a leather has to have to make good book binding. So you would like to use a lightweight leather. You want to use a leather that you don't have to sky very much because otherwise you reduce the qualities of the leather. So you will use lightweight skins. So your lightweight skins are goat and sheep and lamb and kangaroo and things like that. Then you have to look to see how you tan it, how you dehair it, how you fat liquor it, how you finish it, and all the other processes, what you do to the grain that would dictate how long the leather will last. When people were making books years, centuries ago, they weren't thinking, well, gee, this is going to be environmentally friendly and there'll be no microplastics. Well, they didn't have plastics anyway, but they didn't think in those terms. They thought like, well, what looks nice and what's going to last long to them, would seem to be durable. So that'd be, goat and calf. And in some cases, people tell me the sheep lasts just as long as a calf does. But theoretically to us, it seems that the sheep should not last as long because sheep is it's very weak material.
so you would say first for bookbinding, goat skin, then calf skin, and then
No,
possibly
no,
sheep?
no. It depend what type of binding you're doing.
Okay.
Calf is no, the grain's very, very flat. So it's a great background for doing, gold tooling and really, really fancy and intricate gilt work. Whereas a goat, you can do it, but because the grain in the goat, you don't have that freedom.
Mm-hmm.
So goat, so they have different, depending upon your artistic needs, that would depend which leather you might pick.
What all leathers do you offer? What all types of leathers? We're talking about specific animals.
Goat and calf, that's it.
Okay, goat and calf.
Yes.
Outstanding. Why is your leather so sought after by bookbinders?
I just enjoy it. I mean, I've had customers call me almost every day and said, I'm very, very happy with what you sent. I've been called a national treasure. That's nice. On our website, I have no editorial control. I mean, zero. So someone writes something bad, the only thing I can do, I can't stop the publication unless they write swear words. They write about, they're off subject. Otherwise, I can't stop that publication. I can only write a response to it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's for people to feel comfortable in. I don't know, maybe I'll change tomorrow, but so far no one's given us less than 5 stars, and 5 stars is as much as you can get.
I know that your Sokoto is legendary. It's well known. Rebinders swear by it. I know of a few grains. I'll tell you what I know. I know about Sully. I know about Sokoto. I know about Native, and then Capra granulosa. Those are the ones that I'm aware of. Anything beyond that, I'm pretty well lost when it comes to the different kinds of goat skins. But I know your Sokoto is what all the rebinders talk about.
Sokoto, from the research I've been able to tell, is the oldest Bible remaining leather-bound Bible. So that does not include parchment or vellum. Would be the St. Cuthbert's in the UK, and that appears that that's the same leather that we sell as native tan, native dyed goat skin, which we have made in Sokoto, Nigeria. The formulas that leather's commonly available in Sokoto, except it's not commonly available in the formula that we have the leather made to. So it will look the same, but won't test the same. And I don't think it'll last the same. So we went to a lot of effort to try to figure out how the formulas had changed over the decades, and not over the centuries. We couldn't go back that far, but over the decades, because that's really when modern chemistries come in here and go backwards, and that's a more expensive formulation. And so we've done that to try to substantiate it by doing lab tests, various lab tests for various chemicals, presence and absence of certain chemicals. And then also we've gone to some curators in Nigeria that have artifacts to their museums, and they've given us affidavits that the best they can tell, our leather is identical to those artifacts. The Sokoto goats, what I'm selling as Sokoto goats is Niger's, except in those days there was no goat production in Niger. So they call Niger is the country next door, but there were no goats. There was no leather made in Niger back in those days. So those were the Sokoto goats. And it's just a term that I use because no one else was using this term. It's been around since as near as I can tell, this grain pattern has been around since the 1870s, since the English came in. It's a shrunken grain. There's no plates or anything else done on that. Other names for it, people used to call it Niger's. At one time they called it Oasis. The formulas changed from time to time to time to time over the decades. So we're trying to use a formula that's as true as we know to what was done, it would have been done in the 1870s or early 20th century. In particular, we put no pigment on the grain whatsoever. So there are other people that sell Sokoto goat, but it's probably going to have pigment on it, which makes a difference when you go to gold tool it. It'll make a difference on how it blind tools. In my opinion, it'll make a difference how it looks. My opinion is it'll make a difference in how long it lasts. But you put a pigment on it, you cover the defects. And the only thing I can tell you is the leather is really, really, really expensive. It's way too expensive. But we don't get, and we get fair profits, I think very fair profits. And the reason it's so expensive is because it's so difficult, because it's a country that's torn with strife, and there's just a lot of problems with production and distribution.
Well, I am glad I did this interview for, if no other reason, the fact that you just let me know without correcting me that I was saying Sokoto wrong.
I might be saying it wrong. I don't know. I don't know. I have no idea. I mean, I just know what other people told me, and we may all be saying it wrong.
I've never done a review, so you spared me. I'm going to say it your way because
So there you have it. The reason his leather is so sought after is he only goes after the best materials. He doesn't accept flaws. He always goes after the highest grades, and everything that he does, he really does with integrity and honesty so that people can get the best possible product. So I hope you enjoyed this interview, and make sure you check out his Facebook page and check out all of our amazing community of rebinders and some of the things that they have, and ask them, hey, did you use Siegel leather? God bless you. Keep calm. Jesus on.